Good evening. Welcome to the November 6, 2024 City of Minot Planning Commission meeting. Call the roll.
Bauman,
Present.
Amick, Gates, Trudell, Iverson, Kibler, Johnson,
Here.
Longton, Menham,
Here.
Wolf,
Here.
Offerdahl,
Here.
Pontanilla.
Here.
We have a quorum.
That will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we move on to agenda item number 4, I would like to welcome our newest commissioner, Bob, I believe, Amick. Is that correct?
Yep, Amick, yep.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I believe he's a Ward County, is he a Ward County?
Yep, Ward County.
Welcome aboard. Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 4, approval of the October 24th regular meeting minutes. Turn it over for a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Second that.
Motion to approve by Vice Chair Bauman, second by Commissioner Iverson. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, we'll close the discussion and call a roll.
Bauman,
Yes.
Amick, Iverson,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Menham,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Pontanilla.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 5.1, case 2024-92, public hearing request by Ole Bergstead, representing Donald and Marcia Jensen, owner for a request of a zoning map amendment for a future land use map amendment on property zoned R4 planned residence district with the requested rezoning of it to MH manufactured home district and requested change on the future land use map for the suburban residential to manufactured home community. Legal description for the property is Lot 13, Block 4, Engers, first addition to the city of Minot. Property address is 1019 43rd Street, Southeast. With that, we'll turn it over to staff for findings and report.
Chairman Offerdahl, members of the Planning Commission. The subject property, as you can see in front of you, is bound in black with a 300-foot buffer, notification buffer, denoted in pink. The property is located at 1019 43rd Street Southeast, and the applicant seeks a recommendation of approval for a zoning map amendment and a future land use map amendment. Currently, the zoning is R4, Planned Residential District, and the surrounding area is zoned C2, MH, R1, R3, and R4. The future land use for the subject property, excuse me, is suburban residential. Adjacent future land uses include general commercial, urban residential, manufactured home community, and light industrial. Here are some photos of the property and the road in front. The one on the left is facing north, and the one on the east is showing the manufactured home as it is currently placed on blocks on the subject property. All right, the photo on the left is facing east towards the neighboring single-family home. Facing southwest and west show the single-family homes across the street. Here's the staff finding of fact. It can be found in staff's written report. And staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt staff finding of fact and recommend approval to the City Council for a future land use map amendment from suburban residential designation to manufactured home community designation, and a zoning map amendment from R4 Planned Residential District to MH Manufactured Home District with no conditions. And with that, I will stand for questions.
Thank you. Any questions for city staff? Okay, seeing none, I'll open up the public hearing. Is there anybody in attendance that wishes to speak on behalf of this agenda item? Okay, anybody wish to speak on behalf of this agenda item? Okay, seeing none. Is there anybody that wishes to speak in opposition to this agenda item? Feel free to come up to the microphone, sir, and state your name. And there should be a sign-in sheet there for your address. State your name and address for us, please. And you may have to adjust that mic too so everybody in the room can hear you.
Okay, in opposition of it, I fully against going to manufactured home in that area. It's a residential area, and I understand they, whoever did it, they took the old house out. There was a livable house there. They took it out without permits, and they moved this trailer in, a double-wide trailer, and trying to get it all hooked up without any permits or anything. But in opposition of it, we've got no less than eight mobile home facilities within a mile of this location. And why do we have to change another residential area into another mobile home area? You know, that's, I don't know what else to say, but that's just, I mean, there's a few of the neighbors there that, and one of them just passed away Saturday that was in opposition, but, you know, it just doesn't seem right that we degrade a residential area, make it into a manufactured home area when we've got so many of them available in the immediate area. I mean, right across the bypass, there's two of them from right out the back door of this place. And then down at County Road 19 or 27th Street, there's two there. You've got the Pat's Motel area, and then Jefferson Park and Gold Nugget? And then there's one down on that frontage road right next to Monty's Barbecue there. There's a small trailer park there. So I just don't feel that we need to have any more trailers in that area. It should be put back to a mobile home or a permanent structure type family residence. That's all I got. So.
Could I get your name, sir?
Oh, William Neiman.
Neiman, and then your address?
1116 43rd Street, Southeast.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Neiman? Okay, thank you. We may call you back up. Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak in opposition to this agenda item? Anybody? Oh.
Hi, my name is Jo Vanette. My address is 6901 13th Street Northeast in Minot. I do have interest in, this is my father, William Neiman, and I am on the deed for his house as well, so I have interest in that house. At that address, it's up the road, about a half a block from the subject address. And the reason I oppose it is because the neighborhood it's in has standard homes for stick-built homes. There is one small trailer up the road from this house. I don't know how that ever got in. The people that own it also own contracting business, Jessen Roofing, and I believe that they should have known better and gone through the steps that they should have to, number one, take the home that was down, and then also trying to move this home in. without doing the proper steps. So I am opposed because I believe it's going to further reduce the value of the properties that are there.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Vanette? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for Mrs. Vanette? Okay. Anybody wish to speak in opposition to this agenda item? Anybody wish to speak for or against this agenda item? You can state your name and address and then sign that sheet. That'd be great. I appreciate it.
I'm Lisa Bergstead, address unknown at the moment. That's our home. And there are dozens of it's a manufactured home, not a trailer home, but there are dozens in the few block area, 2 doors down. We took photos of probably a dozen just in the area. I don't believe that it devalues the neighborhood. My home, when skirted and decked and everything, looked just like a stick-built home anywhere around the neighborhood. That entire street is made up of a modge podge of kind of run-down apartment buildings, homes, regular homes, duplexes. We have a men's shelter, and then, a manufactured home, stick-built houses. Even on the other side of the road, there was an actual house that I noticed in the backyard. There was a single-wide trailer just in the backyard. But within doors down all around, there are modular homes. The reason we wanted to move is because, with the 40% rent increase in Western Village, we could no longer afford to live there. I bought a $40,000 manufactured home, and I was paying just as much as if I had a mortgage on a $250,000 home after, paying all the, the lot rent and the fees, and then they added utilities and all that. So that was our thought, is to have a better life. Even financially, we have a son who's going to Job Corps for plumbing. We have a daughter who has epilepsy and still lives at home. So we just wanted kind of a forever home for ourselves, and we were okay with the neighborhood. I don't look down on, the apartment buildings or another manufactured home, or the nice homes that may have not very friendly people. I think everyone deserves to be happy in their own space. So there definitely are at least a dozen manufactured homes that are not as new as ours or whatever, but I think that we definitely add some positivity to the surrounding neighborhood with the variety of people and homes on that specific street. I know where it is sitting. It is not within the property lines and the setback that I spoke with Doug about. And, if everything goes okay, they're going, Huey Movers agreed to lift it for us to pour piers and then put it within the property lines where, Doug outlined for us. So I just want to say it's, in my opinion, it doesn't devalue the neighborhood by any means. It doesn't look, when it's set up, it doesn't look any different than surrounding homes. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Bergstead? Okay, we may call you up.
Okay.
Any additional comments for or against this agenda item? Any additional? Yes, ma'am, feel free.
I would just like to clarify that on 43rd Street, southeast, there is one additional single-wide trailer house that is in the backyard of another home. Again, I don't know how it got approved to be there. My parents have lived there since 1983. There are no other manufactured homes on that street. Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing is still open. Any comments for or against this agenda item?
My name's Donnie Jessen. I guess I'd like to say that we didn't realize that we weren't taking the proper procedures to move the place. I was under the assumption that those things had been addressed, and there was some things addressed, permits and stuff that were gotten. So if, I definitely wouldn't want to do anything without it being proper or the right way. I know that, financially speaking, we're selling him the land, so he wouldn't, and with the higher cost of the places around town, I mean, it's driving people out. If they had another option to pursue, we probably would pursue that, but, with them buying and purchasing the land, then that lot rent would go away, and, they'd start owning something instead of giving their money, every month to, for things. So yeah, I just ask that you guys would consider that.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Jessen? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional comments for or against this agenda item? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and I'll turn it over to the commissioners.
Go back to that picture with designation.
So this is future land use designation. So it's important to note that across the street, that is manufactured home community, that brown. So any of those lots could ask for a rezone and it would be in compliance with our current comprehensive plan. The single wide trailer that's in the backyard is actually in a subdivided lot, in that center lot. And they did request and receive a rezone to manufactured home zoning. So that is properly zoned property for a manufactured home.
So any of the people across the street that have stick-built houses could ask to be rezoned to a manufactured home, and because it's on there, then they would be approved.
Yes. Well, I would recommend approval.
Okay.
Is now an okay time to ask staff questions, or do we need to get a motion and then discuss?
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, motion first.
Motion and discussion would be proper.
I'm going to go ahead and move to approve based on staff recommendations and findings of fact.
A second.
Motion by Vice Chair Bauman, second by Commissioner Pontanilla. Any discussion?
So I have a question for staff, if that's okay to
Absolutely.
do now.
That's the discussion.
Mr. Dietrichson, can you just kind of walk us all through maybe what the point of contention between like an R1 residential neighborhood versus a manufactured home neighborhood, why would or wouldn't they be compatible?
Chairman Offerdahl, Vice Chair Bauman, this was an incredibly complex case where I was looking at the neighborhood. Sometimes you can look at a neighborhood and be like, this is a single-family neighborhood. This is a commercial neighborhood. This is a multifamily neighborhood. There are legal non-conforming uses all over the place in this neighborhood. As was mentioned, there are apartment buildings on R1 properties. There are stick-built homes on manufactured home properties. There are condos on R1 properties. Within the neighborhood as a whole, I'm looking outside of just 43rd Street. I'm looking at from the industrial zone to the, highway interchange, north to the bypass, south to the highway. There's just this plethora of different housing choices. I could not say that this neighborhood is this. There is manufactured home community future land use designation directly adjacent. So my justification was this is an expansion of an existing designated area. It is not zoned R1, it is zoned R4. That was done back in the 80s for, so R4 would be equivalent to one of our PUDs now. So it's a planned residence district. Someone had envisioned putting 4 condos on those 2 properties. That project obviously never was followed through with, but the zoning was left in place. So we had 2 single-family homes sitting on property with entitlements for 4 condos. This neighborhood it's tough from a planning perspective. I'm sure our consultants that were developing our future land use plan were running into the same issues as they looked at this neighborhood. What do we designate it? So they just kind of looked, okay, well, it's majority stick-built, so we're going to throw suburban residential here. But it has been a constantly evolving neighborhood. When it comes to land entitlements, when I'm assessing them, I err on the side of a yes, unless there's something screaming no. These are people's private property rights, and we always, side with private property rights unless there's a clear reason not to. With it not being zoned single family, it's not zoned single family, it's zoned R4. And with directly adjacent future land use for manufactured home, nothing was screaming no, so we to yes. This isn't an emphatic yes. This is there's no reason to say no. Yes, it's important to clarify that. So, again, constantly evolving neighborhood that has been evolving over the past few decades. Very difficult to classify as a single use within it. So,
Thank you.
That led to my recommendation.
I appreciate that clarification, and I hope for folks watching and listening, they can appreciate that too. And maybe just to devil's advocate isn't the right term, but if we did nothing and this property just stayed as is, the property owner could build 4 condos on it without any questions or anyone batting an eye based on its current designation as it is right now.
Yes, Chairman Offerdahl, Vice Chair Bauman. Yes, the other single-family home could be demoed and the manufactured home could be moved off, and the entitlements are still in place for condominiums. However, it's important to note that there was a site plan that was approved along with that. So there's a very specific set of 4 condos that can be built, not just any 4 condos. You would have to replicate the site plan that was approved with those entitlements.
From the 80s or whenever it was.
From the 80s. So.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks for clarifying that. I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Bauman,
Yes.
Amick. Iverson,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Menum,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Fontanilla.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 5.2, Carver Edition. Public hearing request by Brad Vrim, representing Mr. and Mrs. Carver, owner for a request of a preliminary plat on property zoned AG. The legal description for the property is northwest 1 corner, southeast 1 corner, section 36, Township 156 North, Range 83 West, Ward County. Subject property address is 5005 10th Street Northeast. That will turn it over to staff for findings and report.
Chairman Offerdahl, members of the Planning Commission. Again, we find our subject property outlined in black and a 600-foot notification buffer denoted in pink. This is inside of the extraterritorial zoning jurisdiction, so that extends out the notification buffer. The property is located at 5005 10th Street Northeast, and the applicant seeks recommendation of approval for a preliminary plat. Here we can see a copy of the preliminary plat. They are creating 2 lots inside of the current single lot. The smaller lot does meet the 10-acre requirement in the agricultural zone. Here you can see the zoning. It is zoned agricultural district. The surrounding area is zoned Ag C2 M1 MH R1 and rural residential RR. Future land use designation for the property is gateway commercial. Adjacent future land use is ag and open space, rural residential, additional gateway commercial, and light industrial. Here we have some photos facing north and northeast. You can see the existing home on the property. That would remain on the larger lot after subdivision. Facing south and west, we see the access roads. The facing south is showing the access to the south out to the main road, and facing west shows the driveway into the property. Here are the findings of fact. They can be found in staff's written report. And staff is recommending that the Planning Commission adopt the staff finding of fact and recommend approval of Carver Addition preliminary plat. And with that, I can stand for questions.
Thank you. Any questions for city staff? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody in attendance that wishes to speak on behalf of this agenda item? Anybody in attendance wish to speak in opposition of this agenda item? Anybody wish to speak for or against this agenda item? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and turn it over to commissioners for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, so we got a motion to approve by Commissioner Wolf, second by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, call the roll.
Bauman,
Yes.
Amick,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Menum,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Pontanilla.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 5.3, public hearing request by Rustin at Houston Engineering, representing Sharon Gurley, owner for a request of zoning map amendment, preliminary plat, and annexation of a property zoned AG with requested rezoning to M1 light industrial. Legal description for the property is northwest quarter, southeast quarter, less highway right-of-way, section 22, township 155 north, range 82 west, Ward County. Subject property address is 6405 Highway 2 east. That will turn it over to staff for finding and report.
Chairman Offerdahl, members of the commission, again, we find our subject property outlined in black with a 600-foot notification buffer denoted in pink. The applicant seeks recommendation of approval on a zoning map amendment and a preliminary plat. The applicant will also be petitioning the city council for annexation. That again is not considered by the planning commission, but it is a portion of their application packet. Here we can see a picture of the preliminary plat as requested. It is being subdivided into what will be rezoned. Lot 2 there is where they're requesting the rezone to M1, and Lot 1 they would like to remain in the agricultural district. Both do meet district standards for moving into the district and remaining in the district. The current zoning is agricultural district with the surrounding area being zone C2, M1, M2, PR1, and rural residential. The future land use for this property is light industry, contrary to what is shown on the map. Since the last planning commission, when you adopted a recommendation to change the future land use in this area, this is included in the area that was with the Case IH property as well. IT just our GIS folks haven't gotten a chance to update the maps, and I had to have my staff report done. So, imagine the pink is light gray, like north of it there, because it's all been brought into that light industrial district now with approval by City Council. Adjacent future land uses gateway commercial, rural residential, suburban residential, and light industry. So facing east, you can see we're out on the highway. Facing northwest, we're right out by the Welcome to Minot sign there. Facing south, you can see across the street, there is some commercial development down in that area. And facing west, you can see the industrial development to the, would be that southwest area. I've included a copy of the annexation exhibit. They are annexing both lots and to the center line of the highway. Again, this is just an informational item I included because it's included in the application packet. Here is staff finding of fact. It can be found in staff's written report. And staff is recommending that the Planning Commission adopt staff finding of fact and recommend approval of the zone change and the preliminary plat. Sorry, with that, I will stand for questions.
Thank you. Yep. Any questions for staff from commissioners? Any questions? Any discussion? No? Okay, with that, we'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody in attendance that wishes to speak on behalf of this agenda item? Is there anybody in attendance that wishes to speak in opposition to this agenda item? Anybody wish to speak for or against? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and turn it over to commissioners for a motion.
I move to approve based on staff finding of fact and recommendations.
Second that.
Okay, motion to approve by Commissioner Pontanilla, second by Commissioner Iverson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Bauman,
Yes.
Emick,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Menum,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Pontanilla.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on, we are going to agenda item number 6 as 5.4. Application has been pulled, so we were moving on to agenda item number 6, which is miscellaneous and discussion items.
Chairman Offerdahl, if I could bring to the Planning Commission, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission make a motion to approve their 2025 meeting schedule. Seen here.
So, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, the meeting dates are actually in the middle column. There's 3 columns here. The first column is the application deadline. Our application deadlines are typically about 5 weeks before the meeting. That gives staff time to review the case, visit the site, contact all the public agencies that have an interest in reviewing these applications, and give some time to provide written comments to staff, and we also have to post public hearing notices in the newspaper, mail out invitations to neighboring property owners, and so on. There's a lot of work that goes into preparing for these meetings. So the application deadline, 5 weeks, typically 5 weeks before the meeting. Planning commission dates are typically the first Tuesday of the month. With the exception in 2025, it would be Wednesday, September 3rd, because of the Labor Day holiday is going to push the city council meeting back to that Tuesday, which would push us back to Wednesday. We can't have two meetings in this room going on at the same time. That would be really awkward. And then the third column is when these cases would be forwarded to city council if they need to go to council for adoption. So that is your 2025 meeting calendar, first Tuesday of the month in 2025, with the exception of September, which is the first Wednesday.
Thank you. I guess one quick question, does the first Tuesday of the month work the best for city staff? Like, are you guys happy with, does this work out good for you guys?
Yes.
Okay. And then the second question is that, you know, the first Tuesday work good for the commissioners as well? Okay, that's the only question I had. Any other questions for city staff? With that, I can turn it over to commissioners for a motion on the 2025 schedule, planning commission schedule.
Approve that.
Had a motion to approve by Commissioner Iverson,
I'll second it.
second by Commissioner Johnson. Okay. Any further discussion?
So one thing we had talked about, the reason we're meeting tonight is because the elections happened last night. It does look like November 4th would be election day if we had any elections in North Dakota, but I don't think we will next year, right?
Commissioner Baumann, I don't believe so. I think the elections are on even number of years here, so I think they do consolidate elections here, and all elections are held on the even number of years, so I don't think we need to worry about that in 2025.
Okay. And then is staff able to send this out if approved so that we all can put it in calendars?
It would also be posted online.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Bauman,
Yes.
Amick,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Menum,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Pontanilla.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Other miscellaneous or discussion items that we need to be brought up? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to agenda item number 7, which is adjournment. Meeting adjourned.